Hey everybody, Ryan Scott from churchsetup.com, and today we're going to be looking at the RGBLink Mini Plus. We get questions all the time. What's the best live stream switcher? What's the best way to connect multiple cameras to our live stream? Churches are looking for easy to use hardware. They're looking for easy to use streaming solutions so that they can take their stream to the next level. And so we get questions about them all the time. So we're going to jump into it and we're going to review it. Now there's two versions of the RGBLink Mini switcher. There's the RGBLink Mini and the RGBLink Mini Plus, if you see that little plus symbol there. And there's a reason that I'm reviewing the Plus and not the Mini, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's jump in and see what we have in the box first, and then we'll review kind of what the specs are and stuff about it. So looking at what is in the box, we're gonna take the lid off here. Hurry up, hurry up. And we're gonna look, and right in the very front of the box, you got the switcher, which is the main, and I think this is just gonna be like power cables and stuff like that. I'm going to set the box aside, but slide it out. And so that's it. You can see it is very small form factor. I mean, this is not going to take up very much space at all. And it has a heat sink on the back so that it keeps it cool. It has camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and camera 4. It has this slide bar to transition back and forth if you want a real smooth transition. That actually feels really nice. It doesn't feel cheap at all. When you look at it in the pictures and everything, it looks like it could be cheaply built, but this is some kind of metal casing and stuff. So it's a good piece of hardware, but it is so tiny. If you have limited space, this might be a really good option because not only does it come with the T-bar, but it's tiny. I mean, I'm holding it in my hand. It even comes with, if you see right here, it comes with a screw that you can actually mount this to like a tripod or something. If you wanted it up, or if you had a mount that you can move around, it will actually mount. And so you can have a mobile version of this just put just about anywhere. So if you can see on the camera there, we've got a number of HDMI ports here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 inputs. Those are HDMI inputs, and then it has one HDMI out, and then the power connector there. On the side of it here, Ethernet port. It's got a USB 3.0 port, and then audio in and out. The great thing about this over a ATEM Mini Pro, for example, is that it has audio out. The ATEM Mini Pro only has audio input, so monitoring becomes an issue then. But this one, you can actually plug your headphones or whatever into that out and monitor the audio, so that's a plus. Another advantage that it has over the ATEM Mini Pro is that if you don't have a monitor, you can actually see right here, there'll be a four top kind of video preview there that you can preview each and every one of these camera things. And those buttons feel really nice too. So let's talk about the features that are found inside the RGBLink Mini Plus, and then we'll talk about the best use cases for churches. If you're comparing this to the ATEM Mini Pro, the ATEM Mini Pro actually has a built-in encoder, so you can stream without the need of a computer. This is really just a switcher, so you will need to connect it to a computer in order to stream. You'll connect it and you'll use it as a kind of like just a regular ATEM Mini. You'll connect it and use it as a webcam source, although that webcam can feature up to 4 cameras. So you connect it through the USB 3.0 port to your computer. What makes that easy is that if you're wanting to stream with Ecamm, or you're wanting to stream with OBS or vMix, or even if you're wanting to use it for Zoom calls and have multiple camera angles for Zoom calls, it operates just like a webcam. So you can have 4 really high quality cameras connected to this, but as far as ease of use, your computer just sees it as a single webcam. You just select it and then you're off to the races, especially with Zoom or something like Ecamm. The next feature is that it has a preview right on the unit, so you don't have to have an external monitor. Now, it will be nice to connect this to an external monitor so you get that kind of multi-view preview. But if you don't have that, or even if you're connecting to your computer through a USB, this little screen right here will show you all of the cameras that are coming through. It'll show you a preview of it so you can see just at a glance at the unit without having any other hardware. You'll be able to see what your cameras are showing. The next thing that's important to know is that you have a couple of different options when it comes to transitioning from one camera to the other. If you operate it like normal, what's going to happen is, let's say you're live on camera number 1 and then you want to switch over to camera number 4. What you'll do is you'll choose camera number 4. 1 will be the one that's going live, so it'll be red. 4 will turn to green when you push that button. And then when you move the T-bar, it will transition as fast as you move that T-bar, or as slow, it'll transition to 4. 4 will turn red, and then 1 will turn green. And if you want to transition from camera 4 to camera 3, you'll push camera 3, it'll turn it green, and then you'll T-bar it back over, and that's how you'll transition. And you can control the speed. You can even stop halfway between and kind of get that blended mode if you want, if you're wanting to use the T-bar. A lot of people, especially when it comes to YouTubers, they're choosing to use it without the T-bar, so they just ignore that. I think it's kind of nice if you're controlling it in person and you have your hands on the unit. I think it's kind of nice to be able to control the fade back and forth between the two, but you can also set it so that it's just a regular cut. So if you're on camera 1 will be red, and if you hit the camera 4 button, it'll just transition over to camera 4, no other action required, and you just push a button to transition over. That's simpler. That's kind of like a Stream Deck experience. You just push a button and it automatically connects to that. So you can actually do either way. Another great thing is that it has picture-in-picture presets. So if you want to do picture-in-picture, an example of how a church would use this is if you want to get the camera of the speaker to be the insert picture, and then like a slide, a sermon slide, or a PowerPoint presentation, and you want that picture-in-picture kind of view, you can do picture-in-picture presets and store them, and it becomes really easy to switch to that view. And here's another feature that comes with the RGBLink Mini Plus, and churches should not use this in almost every case, but it does come with green screen keying. So if you need that, this will do it, which might come in handy if you're using it for like Zoom or something. But if you're using it for church services, I don't know if I would even recommend people doing that, because you can always tell when something is green screen. But who knows, you might come up with a use case for it. And if you need green screen keying, you can do that with this system as well. When it comes to audio, you do have 2 jacks. You have an in and an out. This is a benefit over the A10 Mini Pro, as you can plug your audio in, and then you can plug your headphones or whatever right into this, or just daisy chain if you want to run it to another system or whatever. You have an in and an output when it comes to audio, and they're both the eighth quarter, and they're both 1/8" jacks. I think it's 8". 1/4 inch is the big one. I think this is the 1/8 inch, or 3.5 millimeter. That's what it is. Let's go with 3.5 millimeter. And then it has one single HDMI output, and this HDMI output can be used for either programs. So if you need to run like the program view out to multiple screens, and to whatever you want to do. If you want just the HDMI to be the program out, you can set it to that, or you can set it to be the multi-view, so that you get a preview of all the cameras and everything, like you would traditionally with an A10 Mini Pro or whatever. However, if you do need to use the HDMI out, this is one benefit of the RGBLink Mini Plus over the A10 Mini Pro. If you do need, for some reason, the HDMI port out to go to like your screens or something, and you can't waste that HDMI for multi-view, you get multi-view right on the screen. And so here's the reason I went with the RGBLink Mini Plus over the RGBLink Mini, is that the Plus has an interesting feature if you're going with a PTZ streaming kit. So if you have PTZ cameras, you can actually use this unit, not just to switch between them, but to control them. So these little knobs here, this knob is a volume knob by default, and this knob over here is kind of like a push button knob thing that goes along with moving the settings and stuff. You can actually connect up to 4 PTZ cameras to this thing and control them simply by turning these knobs. So if you have your camera set up, all you have to do is you turn these knobs, and you can control the pan, the tilt, and the zoom of your PTZ cameras. And you can do that with up to 4 cameras at a time. And the last thing that is super, super important is that if you want to control this remotely, you can actually use an app, and as long as this is powered on and connected to your cameras, you can control everything that's on here through a mobile app or software on a computer. So who would I recommend this system for? I mean, it's a really good switcher. It's very, very compact. It's shorter than an A10 Mini, and a little bit thicker, a little bit taller, but Very, very small profile if you're talking about using this in like a sound booth or something. And the added ability to just put a mount, screw a mount into there. You can get like a flex arm or one of those matriculating arms or whatever you call them that you can connect to something, and you can mount this. I can mount it like literally next to my desk. The fact that it is so versatile on how you can mount it is really, really nice. But let's talk about where this would really shine. I think outside of using it for like a PTZ kit, I still might just prefer to go with an A10 Mini Pro. I don't know. I'm sure they're both good. This one has some benefits over the A10 Mini Pro that you don't get in other systems. But I think where this really, really shines is if you have like a single PTZ camera, or if you have like a hybrid kit where you have one PTZ and a couple static cameras. So what I would do if I wanted to use this, I would have like one single PTZ camera at the back of the room and then two static cameras, one with a wide angle, one with a little bit more narrow angle on, you know, some aspect of the platform. And then I would use that fourth HDMI input to bring in like my Pro Presenter or PowerPoint or whatever you're using at your church. And then I would use these controls to control the PTZ camera and then just switch between the camera views. So that would give me a 3-camera setup with just a single piece of hardware controlling everything. I don't have to have like the A10 Mini Pro here and then a giant, you know, keyboard joystick controller here to control my PTZ cameras. I don't need multiple things. I can put everything inside of this. And so if you're looking to use like a PTZ streaming kit with a Mac or a Mac Mini or something like that, I think this would probably be the tool of choice, especially if you're worried about space and taking up space, because you can control the PTZ here. You can have 4 cameras and it's this tiny and it works like a webcam. So you can connect it right into your Mac, use Ecamm or OBS or anything like that. And you just have everything that you need right here. You have audio in and out. You can plug your headphones right into this. And so it really becomes kind of an all-in-one. So where it really shines, I think, is a 3-camera kit. Now it'll shine with a single camera, yeah, but to get the most out of this, I think it would shine the most with a 3-camera kit, 2 static cameras, so 2 Sony A6400s, and 1 PTZ camera, like a PTZ Optics 20x zoom. You can plug it into either a PC or a Mac, and run it with Ecamm or Zoom or OBS or vMix or anything like that. And you pretty much run your entire stream right here on this. You don't need a stream deck. You don't need keyboard and mouse. You don't need any of that once you're live. All you have to do is manage this, and you have your multi-view right here. Everything is on this little system. But if you want to get your hands on this and you don't want to spend the $499 to buy it outright, we're actually I'm giving this one away. So I'm holding this right now. We're going to give this away to someone by the end of June. So if you want to enter, I mean, just take a look. We're just getting started. Our YouTube channel isn't very big. We're promoting this pretty much through YouTube only. And so if you want a chance to get this, you'll have to go to the link. I'm going to put it in the description. I'm going to put it into a card up above. You'll have to go and you'll enter. And there's several things that you can do to get several entries, but we are giving this away at the end of June to some lucky entrant. So it might be you. You can get it. It's a really good switcher. If you're looking for a switcher, 4-camera switcher with built-in preview and the ability to control PTZ cameras with these knobs, then I think this is the unit for you. Go to the link, enter, and who knows, maybe you'll win it. But if you're asking if it's good, if you're asking should you use it for your church, I think if you have the right setup, then yes. The downside of this unit over an A10 Mini Pro is that it does not stream by itself. It does not have an encoder. If you stream using this, you have to have a computer connected with it. You have to have an encoder that's going to encode your stream. So you'll have to have OBS, you'll have to have Ecamm or vMix or whatever, Zoom. But aside from that, I think if I was going to go on Ecamm, I would probably choose this over the A10 Mini Pro simply because it has the PTZ controls built in and it removes some of the hardware that I would need to control those cameras. If this sounds good to you, it is a solid option. This is a solid piece of equipment. If you enter, you might be able to win it for free, and then you can see if you really like it or not. So hopefully that was helpful. And if you're wanting to use it for church, I say go ahead. It is a great piece of hardware. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video.